I read an article the other day, and I don't know why I let myself get worked up over stuff like this, but this article was saying that this generation of children growing up right now, the kids of today, have it rougher than we had it growing up. And what it said is that they're dealing with problems we didn't deal with, so there's no precedence as to how to deal with it. And the three they mentioned was cyberbullying, child obesity, and porn overload. They are right. These are three problems I didn't deal with growing up. As the skinny kid who was bullied in person. Remember that kind of bullying? The kind that doesn't end when you hit the power button? It's a shitty kind of bullying. And porn overload. Suck it up, kids. Try dealing with porn underload. I spent the majority of my early teens jacking off to the Sears catalog. My mom just thought I was incredibly diligent with my wish list. He's meticulous, he spends hours on that thing. I remember too, my buddy and I, we were walking home from school one day in grade 6, and we always used to cut through these carragana bushes on our way home. And one fateful afternoon, amongst the leaves and the mud, we found ourselves half of a ripped up, used, old nudie mag. Nonetheless, greatest day ever. But then it got really weird, because every day for the next 3 years, every time we passed by these carraganas, we'd scour them. Like they were some sort of magic porn bush. You close your eyes, you rub yourself 3 times, and boom, a nudie bag appears. What got me the most worked up about this article, though, is that here's the thing. They never bring up the problems kids aren't dealing with anymore. You know, think about this, my friends. 75 years ago, falling into a well was a very real danger. Where there was a well, there was a way that a kid was gonna fall in it and drown. Children were dying in their drinking water, nothing we could do about it. Every glass of well water you had contained 0.03 ppm of child. That's too much kid in the water. Too much kid in the H2O. This is a problem that happens so frequently that even now, generations later, we all know the scene from the old-timey movies. You know, it's after church, there's a group gathered around. A lady with a feathered hat. A man in a trench coat. When up runs a panicked canine. And he barks out, "Woof! Woof!" Desperately hoping someone can decipher his cry for help, and someone does. A man cries out, "Oh dear God." That is a bark I have heard far too many times before. And it can only mean one thing. There's a kid in a well. All I'm saying is children aren't dying in wells anymore. All right? Let's face the hard facts. Most kids these days can't even fucking fit in a well. And you know what? Saying that kids today have it rougher than we did basically discredits all the beatings we took for how safe kids can be today. You know, you don't need to go further than playground for examples of this. Did you guys know they're not even using sand anymore? They're laying down, it's like a rubber mat. Kids are springing right back up. Anyone here, feel free to yell out. What did they decide to use to cushion our falls?
Sand and concrete.
Yes, rocks, yes! Billions of tiny rocks. Because we've all heard the saying, rocks are nature's cushions. I love that what they settled on, too, is the substance all animals right across the planet love to take poops in. Here, kids, play in the litter box. Get right in there. Did you guys play on the tire swing growing up?
Oh, yeah.
And I mean the old school one, before the pivot. You know, when you could wrap the chain right up to the top of the frame. You're in there all excited. Your friends are on their tiptoes. They're twisting it as high as it'll go. They let you spin. Woo! Next thing you know, you're experiencing the closest thing a 5-year-old has ever come to being shit-faced. You're stumbling around. No words are coming out, just sounds at this point. It's like a puke siren is going on. You unload. But your buddy's got your back. They say, don't worry about it. We'll kick some sand on there. No one will be the wiser. Do you guys remember the bridges? And they were nothing but logs attached to hand railings by chains. This is the stuff our parents were like, yeah, it looks good. Put it out there, thin the herd a little. But it was just that we were treated differently than kids today, you know? Like when we got hurt, my dad was the king of this phrase. You've all heard this at some point or another in your life. And I'd get hurt in the backyard and then I'd hear him opening the kitchen window. And then like clockwork, he'd slap his knee and he'd yell out, "Walk it off, big guy! Walk it off!" What does that even mean? You know, that literally goes against everything medical science has to do, right? What's the first thing they're saying when someone gets injured on the sports field? Don't move him. You move him, he may never walk again. My dad's out there, get him up. Take him for a stroll. You'll feel better faster if you go for a run. Run it off. Run that shit off. And I don't know why it stands out in my mind so much. Does anyone else here remember the first time they realized stink bombs existed? This blew my mind. I'm like, wow, humans have progressed to the point where we could bottle a fart? That's crazy. And that's a lot of power to give a grade 3-er, you know? The ability to break a thin veil of glass and make an entire room smell like you're standing down for bread here? And my buddy, he had older brothers, so, you know, he always had the goods, and he showed up one day, and he had 10 stink bombs. And we're breaking them around the playground. And then we decided, let's up the ante. Let's break one in the school. Where are we gonna do it? Boys meeting! Where are we gonna do it? Gather round. You know where our 8-year-old minds decided would be the best place? The boys' washroom. At the time, I'm just like, oh man, people are gonna go in there and think someone just took a huge dump. Right where they should. It's like throwing water balloons into the ocean. It's gonna get wet in here.